So the growth of anti-Asian sentiment and a rise in attacks is being felt throughout New York City, but that may be especially true for Queens, where more than 25% of residents identify as Asian.
Joining us live now to talk about efforts to confront anti-Asian hate and other issues facing his borough, Queens Borough President Donovan Richards. Good morning to you, Borough President. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. I know you're on the move right now. You have an event today with the new school's chancellor, but I want to talk about right now the attacks on Asian spas around Atlanta. They have certainly heightened concerns here in New York, especially in your borough, right, where we've seen our own rise in hate crimes against Asian Americans. In about 20 minutes, I'm speaking to the NYPD commissioner about the matter, but I want to get your thoughts right now on and what exactly the Queens community is doing to address it.
Well, we're coming together. That is the most important thing we can do. And we saw that last night at Diversity Plaza. We sent a very strong message that in Queens, this is not going to be tolerated. We're working with many of our partners in the Asian community, from the Asian American Federation to AFI, to several other organizations, to make sure that we're doing all we can on the ground. But the bottom line is individuals who perpetrate these acts must be held accountable. You know, that police commissioner or sheriff in Atlanta said that the gentleman who did this was having a bad day. And that is not the message we want to send. This was domestic terrorism, and he ought to be held accountable.
Absolutely. Now, you and Manhattan Borough President Gail Brewer released a statement on Saturday calling for Governor Cuomo actually to resign. We want to talk to you briefly about that as well. Is that still your position?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the bottom line is we are faced with a magnitude of different issues right here, not only in the state, but in particular in Queens, which was the hardest hit, the epicenter of the epicenter. We can't have distractions at this moment. Anything related to sexual harassment must be dealt with seriously. He does deserve due process, but at the end of the day, this has become a huge distraction, and we should be focusing on the things that are important right now across the state and the city, and especially our borough. And
so because of that, just to be very clear, you're saying resign.
Yeah, I mean, we sent out a very clear message. I do agree that the governor deserves due process, but at this time, we have to ask ourselves, can he, at this moment, actually manage the state?
You know, I want to ask you, before we move on to the other topics of what's happening in Queens, I've asked other elected leaders this. You know, oftentimes you were in the city council, now you're borough president. You have to work closely with the governor's office. And besides the sexual harassment claims, there were claims of bullying and intimidation. Did you ever feel that way, or have you heard from your colleagues about that kind of environment and atmosphere?
I mean, obviously, we've heard the rumors. I have not encountered that. I've had a good working relationship with many of the individuals in his office, especially around expanding testing across Queens. We still have a whole lot more work to be done, but that has not been my experience.
Understood.
Gotcha. All right, so let's move on to this. Borough of Queens faced many challenges during this pandemic, but its hospital crisis left many residents without access to health care. Very important here. You emphasized the problem during your State of the Borough address. So I want to take a listen to what you had to say.
In a borough with 2.4 million people, we have just 9 hospital campuses. Just in the last 12 years, 4 of our hospitals have closed, removing more than 840 beds and thousands of medical professionals, and leaving communities like Far Rockaway with even less access to health care.
Okay, so we saw the long lines at hospitals in Queens during the height of this pandemic. What sort of price did the residents pay not having access to health care?
They lost lives. We lost over 7,000 individuals right here in Queens County to this pandemic. And you sort of look at the inequities that the healthcare system has historically played right here in Queens. The lack of access has been one of the reasons we saw this crisis exacerbated across the borough. So we need more hospitals, we need more beds, we need more programming, we need investment into our institutions. And these inequities are the reason we saw this pandemic hit our borough like no other.
And who does that come down to, right? To get more beds, more hospitals, more access, whose responsibility is it? The mayor?
Well, it's federal, state, and local. And when we're talking about people's lives on the line, we don't have a moment to point fingers or a second.
Yeah.
We have a federal stimulus package that has now just come down. The Biden administration, our majority leader, Chuck Schumer, I spoke with Monday, spoke of the opportunities to expand health centers across the country and especially New York State. we need to see that money coming into boroughs like Queens.
Have you seen any improvements, though, since we saw those 7,000 people lose their lives? Have you seen any indication that we're heading in the right direction?
I will say that the vaccine, we're starting to see a lot more people. There's been a lot more trust from the last time I was on your show in terms of people taking the vaccine.
Right.
But we still need a lot more of the vaccine to reach local communities. And right now, there has not been a firm relationship or opportunity for community-based organizations to be at the table as the vaccine rollout happens. So we need to see a whole lot more of that. 24% of all Queens residents have at least received one dose of the vaccine.
Okay.
But that's a shame, considering we were the epicenter.
Have you gotten the vaccine?
I am scheduled to get the vaccine next Saturday.
Oh, good. And I want to talk about where you are right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we are talking about this renaissance in Queens as well, right? Some of the businesses are coming back. There seems to be this energy on the ground. Part of that has to do with the fact that schools are reopening slowly but surely, right? You are about to tour a school with the new chancellor, who we spoke to last week on the Pick 7 Morning News. Tell us about what you're doing today.
Well, this is going to be the first time we get to hang out with the chancellor a little bit and talk about the future of Queens. We want to ensure that every child has access to a laptop in Queens. We know that there still are a lot of institutions across Queens that need to see investment. We need more school seats in Queens. We are a growing borough from Long Island City to Far Rockaway. So these are some of the immediate conversations we're going to have. But in terms of getting back to some semblance of normalcy, having our children back in school is a major step in the right direction.
Absolutely. All right, Borough President Richards, thanks so much for being with us today. We do appreciate you taking some time. I know you got a busy schedule, but thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. God bless you all. Stay safe.
All right, right back at you.